This is the ultimate question. What phone should I buy today? Not everyone has $1,000 to spend on a phone, but at $90, wait, this $350 phone is now $90? Clearly, it has to be pretty bad, right? Well, yes and no. But let's talk about that first. Should you buy the Palm phone in 2020? Hello everyone, this is Matt from Real World Review. Check out the social media listed above and the description for some extras. Alright, let's review this phone thing, whatever it's called. This phone is small, like size of your palm small. This means that everything is small, like the screen, the battery, the ports, and so on. What is large, so to speak, is the operating system and the cameras, for the most part. This phone runs full Android on a weak processor, but more on that a little bit later. We might as well talk about the cameras a little bit later as well. The screen is a decently sized 3.3-inch display at a 16:9 ratio. Honestly, it didn't seem like it was a 16:9 ratio, so that really surprised me when I learned that. It does seem like a small screen, so Palm added a bunch of stuff to help with that aspect. But the lock screen gestures are kind of pointless to me, as well as the 3-dot button on the bottom. But it's nice to see Palm try something different, like they always do. The screen doesn't actually look too bad with its high 445 pixel per inch display, which is higher than the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Think about that. Okay, it's 11 pixels per inches smaller, but still pretty crazy to see that in such a small phone. This phone is actually pretty easy to hold with its small 96.6 by 50.6 millimeter design, not to mention the super light 62.5 grams that it weighs. That's 163.5 grams lighter than the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Now, think about that one. Horrible. The battery life is absolutely horrible. It's a small 800 milliamp battery, which makes sense, but it also doesn't make sense at all. This will probably not get you through a full day if you use it as an actual phone. As a backup, you might be able to get away with that, but still. This is almost 30 minutes of screen on time for the whole day. Horrible battery life, but it makes sense. Also, this phone has Quick Charge 3.0, but it is slightly annoying to see that it takes over an hour to fully charge this battery on a 15-watt USB-C charger. It's really difficult to recommend this phone because of the battery life. For example, a round of PUBG on this phone is 1, horrible to do, but also 2, drains about 40% of the battery. But clearly, you're not supposed to do too much on this. So for me, the phone wasn't that usable. Your mileage may vary if you buy an unlocked version, but I received a Verizon one. When putting my T-Mobile SIM card into this phone, I lost the internet. It kept telling me to sign into the carrier, but it would let me text and make calls. I'm not sure why, and it was frustrating to fix that issue after I switched from this phone. This phone is an add-on device, like how you would need a tablet plan for a tablet or a watch plan for your watch. Either way, you should probably stick to the unlocked version if you plan on using this for a full phone. Everyone's big concern is the keyboard, but it really isn't that bad at all. You'll probably just have to use the gestures or pay attention when you type. That's pretty much it. The camera is not too terrible for what the phone is, but it's clear that on both cameras, Palm just slapped them into the phone without worrying too much about image processing. Still, it could have been worse. Also, Palm put 32 gigabytes into this phone, which isn't too bad for what the phone is supposed to be. One thing I noticed is that it looks like there's only one loudspeaker, even though Palm says that there's 2. So I'll keep the rest of this short because the phone is not really usable at all. Battery life sucks, and the Snapdragon 435 in this phone isn't anything too crazy either. It is 2 to 3 times slower than the Pixel 1, depending on how you look at it. This phone has 3 gigabytes of RAM, which isn't too bad for the size, but for 2020, it's pretty bad. You can play big games like PUBG, but oh my, it is horrible to do, and even at low settings, like super low settings. Basic apps work well with some lag. There are a bunch of apps that will not download at all because of compatibility, which makes sense. The phone is stuck on Android Oreo, and I'm assuming that it's there to stay, with a chance of getting some Pie, but definitely will not receive Android 10. It's actually kind of weird if you think about it that this phone doesn't have Android 1. One huge thing for me is the notifications. Not sure if I can replicate this, but this phone always is last to receive notifications, sometimes 10 seconds or even 2 minutes late. So it's really not that reliable. So why are you still watching this video? Why did I even want to review this phone? The same reason that I reviewed the flip phone last year, because I can, and because I wanted to. This is a phone that gets you away from the real world, just a little bit. But when you get back into the real world and you get into the workflow, you realize that this is an absolutely horrible phone and you hate using it. But really, it is a good phone for people who want to use their phone less, but it is nowhere near a replacement for a flagship or budget smartphone. Still, there is something about this small, classy looking phone that I like. This phone is also IP68 water and dust resistant, which I was honestly surprised about. So why should you buy this phone? Maybe you're going on vacation and still need a phone and don't want to worry about bringing your premium phone. This is the perfect phone for that, especially if you lose it. A very small, perfect phone that you will definitely lose. So should you buy this phone in 2020? Absolutely not. This is a terrible phone to use, so I didn't really use it that much, but for those that need a phone to replace something expensive temporarily, this $90 phone fits pretty well into that equation. With that said, just buy a Pixel 1 or a Samsung S7 and save yourself some stress, except for the whole battery issues with those, but regardless. Those phones also have headset jacks and volume buttons. And that's all I wanted to talk about. Thanks for watching my first review of 2020, the smallest review that I can think of. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section or message me on Twitter. I get bored over there. Also, check out the social media listed above, subscribe and hit the bell button if you like my channel and want to see more videos. And if you made it this far, I will send you some free stuff. Just kidding, but message me and maybe I will send you something. Who knows? Thanks for watching.